And are we live yet? Are we live yet?
Not on my side yet.
No, it says it's supposed to be live.
Yeah, I can see your picture.
Hey, aloha everyone. How are you tonight? Welcome to Practical Printing and all of the Friday 3D Printing Community Hangout guests. Let's get this started like we always do and go across the board from left to right on the way I see it. And we're starting off with Xander. We'll go from youngest to oldest, I guess. You.
That messes up our flow. Hi, everybody. I'm Glenn.
And I'm Xander.
And together we are Fun King 3D. We are a father and son team to do 3D printing and general electronic projects. Why are you looking at me like that? Did I say something wrong? Why don't you tell them about yourself?
Yeah, we're keeping that for later.
All right, he'll chime in a little bit more later on, but yeah, it was a father-son venture to get the two of us into doing some maker type stuff, and yeah, I guess that's it for now.
What is that yellow thing right there in front of him?
This?
The big yellow box. What is that?
Oh, that's a Fabricator Mini 3D printer.
Yeah.
That came from Joel Telling, the 3D printing nerd.
Big Joel.
I like how he tells that little story like you don't already know. He's yeah, he's been pretty nutty. I mean, he's been pretty nutty ever since 2 weeks ago, but and then of course yesterday he watched Joel's video about the Ruby nozzle and the fact that Joel printed his rocket and he just lit up. He just, oh my god, and I said, wow, you got a shout out from Joel, and he goes, he called me his buddy. That's
Oh, so Joel got the print done. I didn't see that.
Yeah. Here we go. Jimmy, you're up next.
How's it going, guys? Jimmy with Jimmy Shaw's Tidbits.
Hey, it looks like you're in the shop tonight.
Hey, how's the sound with the Bluetooth? Is it all right?
Yeah, it's okay. It's a little jumpy, but I think it's okay. Tell us a little bit about your channel, Jimmy. For those that don't know you.
I do 3D printing. I do 3D printing. I do product reviews here and there and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, I just mainly do 3D printing for the most part.
Little song, little dance, little 3D printing. Okay. And then 3D Printing Iceland. You are next on my screen, left to right.
Yeah, hi. My name is Marteinn, and I have a small YouTube channel called 3D Printing Iceland, or 3DP Iceland. And I just started in 3D printing 1 month ago when I got my Prusa. And my son actually challenged me to do a YouTube channel and take videos of my projects, and I created the channel and have been just as much fun doing the videos as doing 3D printing. So it was a good idea from him.
That's awesome. We need to get your son out with us sometime if we can get it a little bit, get him away from his computer and video games.
Yeah, he has a YouTube channel as well for his video games. So I don't know if he's asleep, but he's probably doing Minecraft videos.
Perfect. All right, Richard, you are next.
I'm Zidim. I have the Zidim channel. I do 3D printing and model trains. I'm supposed to be taking the summer off, taking it easy. Sounds like we're getting some running on the background. Yeah, I'm muted over there. But no, it's the basics. 3D printing, model trains, have a Facebook page. It seems to be growing at a very rapid rate around using 3D printing model trains. And so it's taking off as add-on to that hobby.
Awesome. Matt, if you're with us, you're next.
We'll see if this is going to go through. I'm Matt from How I Do It. I do a little bit of 3D printing, woodworking, metalworking, all kinds of general making. Hopefully you guys can hear me. I'm up in the mountains camping, so my internet connection's kind of not been cooperative, so we'll see how this goes.
Right, and I'm Chris Russell with Practical Printing. Obviously, you know that you're here. So tonight, the topic that we were going to talk about tonight was social responsibility by those of us that are a little bit more visible in the YouTube community. And by visible meaning that, I'm sorry, not in the YouTube community, but in the 3D printing community. And by visible, I mean those of us that are on YouTube and very active on social media and whose names and faces are a little bit out there. I wasn't necessarily wanting to address the topics of what people individually do on their channel, you know, whether they keep it PG or PG-13 or they, you know, XXX or keep it G. More along the lines of our responsibility and accountability to the community as a whole. Just examples of some of the things that I've found that I think it's critical that we do. I think a big one is, for example, is the jargon that we use in our videos or in our tweets or our communications. We need to be, my audio is chopping. Is it too hot? Let me, is that a little bit better?
Yeah, that's better, Chris. I don't know what was happening, but you were like, so.
Okay. Oh, thanks. Sorry, don't have the chat pulled up right at the second, but what I was saying was, I think what's important for us is that as we're communicating, you know, through YouTube or the others, to kind of be stewards for the community and to ensure that what we're putting out there, terminology and jargon that we use, that we're using correct and proper terminology. Just a generic example of that is, Brenda's here.
Hello.
I'll finish my monologue first, and then we'll come back to Brenna, because I see new colors tonight. An example of what I mean by jargon is, for example, auto bed leveling. We all fall in the trap of saying auto bed leveling. Automatic bed leveling does not exist except for in science fiction at this point, or somebody's laboratory. We have automatic bed correction or assisted bed leveling, but we don't. Still clipping just a hair. Okay, a little better there. But automatic bed leveling itself means that there's some sort of a mechanical device that moves and levels out the bed. So it's just using that as an example, is that it's our responsibility to make sure that those get communicated to people correctly, and that we use the proper jargon to people. You know, so that way when they're communicating with others, they're not propagating what we put out. I think I had some other examples when I was talking with Matt, but I mean, I want to open it up to you guys, what your thoughts are. But that's just an example of what I mean by social responsibility, is that as you know, as stewards of the community or as a public face for the community, what is our responsibilities to present to our audiences? Anyone? Bueller?
I don't think anybody wants to step in on anybody else, but you raise a lot of really good points. And I see it a lot in the ANET Facebook group where somebody comes up with an idea. Well, we're going to touch on fire. You know, I mean, you mentioned an ANET A8 and everybody goes, oh my God, don't buy one of those. They catch on fire. And from what I understand, doing the digging that I've done, fire has only happened once ever on an ANET A8. So people do pick up and run with stuff. So at the point that one of us says something, and it's funny too, because, and it hasn't happened to me, we're not big enough yet, but you know, one of Joel's videos, somebody will say, oh yeah, I watched a video about XYZ, and I know immediately what video they're talking about. And then they start to repeat what Joel says. So Joel absolutely has the responsibility of not saying the wrong thing, even though we're humans. I mean, we're human beings, and I constantly make stupid mistakes like calling lead screws a threaded rod, and then I have to go back and correct myself. So you're absolutely on point, Chris. There's a lot of things that we do have to be a little bit more careful of what we say, so that we don't start that ever-ending spiral of everybody believing that every A8 is going to catch on fire.
Right. Yeah, the A8 is a perfect example of that. Gosh, I got fired up and passionate over that, and I lost my train of thought on what we were kind of talking about earlier, Matt. And just some of the other examples that I had.
One of the things we were talking about was, I think you might have mentioned it, but my connection's kind of crap. So we were talking about like using the term auto leveling, and the misconception that auto leveling may actually have to someone who knows nothing about 3D printing. Auto leveling, when you hear that, you're thinking, you know, my bed's going to automatically adjust its heights so that it levels itself, as opposed to, Chris, you had put it, as we were talking, auto calibration or auto correction, where it software based corrects for the differences in the bed height, which is what printers currently do, stuff like that. The other thing you and I had been talking about was when you do make a mistake, coming out and just, you know, we all occasionally get tongue tied and use the wrong terminology. So just kind of, you know, gracefully coming back and saying, hey, you know what, I gave out was wrong information, misinformation, whatever the case might be. Or when you're doing, especially like the Kickstarter printers and things like that, even the A8s and stuff, the E10s, the A8s, the CR10s, everybody's going to have a mixed reaction. And your initial reaction is not always your final reaction. I've definitely had printers that I absolutely love 1 minute, and the next minute I absolutely want to throw it off my desk. So later I like it again. That's
actually a good point, Matt. Using Joel as an example, again, for the Kodama Obsidian, he did 3 videos on that. Because he had prototypes, and with each prototype and with each evolution of firmware or other minor changes they made, his impression of the printer and where it was going with the Kickstarter had changed. And so that's a perfect example of the responsibility to convey that out, you know, to the community, that, hey, what I thought the information I had was wrong, and let me correct myself and let me put it back out there.
Yeah. One great thing I remember, Dad used to have this magnet on the fridge that had in quotes, "It's not personal, it's just information." And yeah, I think it's really important that we remember that any information that we put out there, we don't have to stand by it forever if things change over time. Like, we don't have to die on that hill. Oh, I said this thing and now people are saying I'm wrong. We can change our opinions, and that's a big thing that a lot of people on the internet are having problems with, is not accepting that information can change over time, and how you feel about things can change over time. And it's a thing, as people who are visible in communities, we have to stand up and say, hey, it's okay, we were wrong, and we can move on from this point.
Exactly.
Yeah, there's one thing, like for reviews, I've seen a lot of reviews where the printer is a kit that is really cheap, and the reviewer has to print out spare parts or renew parts to get it to work. And in the end of the video, he says it's a very good product for the price, but I had to do this and this and this. But the honest review is basically, if the kit is not working out of the box, it has to be said that it was not working. and you can maybe do a follow-up video later with, I've done this and that to the printer to get it to work, but my initial thoughts were it was not worthy your money because it didn't work out of the box.
Well, and I've gotten to the point where I don't. I've decided that I'm not doing reviews. Like I do reviews on filament and stuff, but I call everything else a progress report.
Okay. Sorry, is that audio any better, guys? I reset the USB pre. Unfortunately, RepCord, no, I don't have the option of going hardwired right now, not without completely shutting down the stream.
Yeah, sound is good now.
That sounded a lot better, Chris.
Okay. Yeah, sorry about that. I had to. It's really hot. I'm out in the garage. It's probably in the mid 90s in here right now. So it's kind of thermals are hitting the boxes a bit, the hardware a bit. I think one of the other terms too that Matt and I discussed earlier, and it's actually one that always bothers me, is the use of the term. Hey, there's Mike popping in. Is the term of the word clone, to when people always refer to the cheap Chinese clone printers, especially when it's referring to like the A-nets or the other i3 variant printers. It's not fair to call those clones because it's an open source printer. It's a variant of the i3, but it's not a clone. An example of the clone would be like the BL Touch, that is a closed source product, or I hate to say it, even an E3D hot end, which is legally a closed source product, even though they make all of their dimensions and everything available. That would properly be called a clone. But calling the printers themselves cheap Chinese clones isn't doing them any justice, and it's improperly labeling them because it's an open source printer.
Yeah, I mean, like, take the CR10. That is a perfect example of a cheap Chinese printer coming out. It's an i3, essentially, I guess, an i3-based printer. And if I'm wrong about that, correct me. But it's not really a clone of anything else. It's just built off the same base platform, just like you have a Cartesian printer versus a Core XY versus a Delta. I mean, really, to an extent, you could say, if you were going to use it, the terminology that way, clone being anything that's an i3 based platform is a clone of a. You might as well at that point say, well, you know, every Delta is a clone of the original, whatever the original Delta is. Honestly, I don't even know that part of it.
Yeah,
Right.
you can say that some printers are based on some other printer's design, but they are improvements or cut downs of features. So it's just based on some product that somebody did at some time.
We jumped into the topic, and we've had a few other people join us. Just to go back and introduce them before we go too much further. Brenna over on the left, or Superior Jello. Tell us a little about yourself.
Hi, I'm Brenna. I have a Prusa. It's sitting right behind me. I haven't really been making videos lately because I've been doing video work for a job instead of for YouTube. But I'm really more into the whole finishing process thing, the painting and all that. I've got an item that I will be bringing in later to paint as we stream. And yeah, that's me. I don't know.
And Mike, are you in with us?
And I apologize for this. I'm having some massive network difficulties today, so if I black out, I apologize. Yeah, for everybody, yeah, hey, 3D printing. Back into doing videos, and like we just published a video last week on Don't Film that we did a review of that. And
Mike, you're dropping out.
Doing Jura filament. Is my network?
Yeah, unfortunately you're dropping out. We're catching about every third word.
Okay. Give me a couple minutes. You can get back to me. I'll try to clean this up.
Hey, Chris, I blame you. You finally started hosting, so now the internet's going to crash and burn.
Yeah, I know. It's always my fault. I accept that. Blame it on me. Well, I guess we'll jump back over to the topic. I mean, what other social responsibilities are you all seeing that we have as the visible faces in the community to the people that are watching?
I got a question for the group. What do you guys think the social responsibility is of us as content creators when it comes to being accessible on the different social media platforms? Such as like when you get asked questions on Twitter, get asked questions on Facebook, through email, whatever the case might be. What kind of responsibilities do you guys take on as far as that kind of stuff when people are asking you to help troubleshoot or just asking general questions about 3D printing, making ourselves become faces of 3D printing?
Didn't catch that last half, Matt.
You say you got half of that?
Yes.
Go ahead. You guys can carry on the conversation. I'm going to see if I can try to change something here.
I think I know where you were going with that, Matt. And, you know, I mean, to be fair, I spend a lot of time, I hope my boss doesn't see this, but I spend a lot of time on Facebook and Twitter during the day while I'm working. And I like to help. I've always been the kind of person that likes to help out. So, I mean, if questions come across on Facebook and stuff, that's something I can answer. I absolutely get in there and answer it. I don't necessarily do it because I think that I'm the face of 3D printing. I do it because I want to help, and I'm trying to grow my channel. It's no secret that I post my videos every chance I get to get traffic in on my channel, but it's the desire to help the people, not so much being the face of 3D printing. And I would never go in and give an answer if I wasn't sure that I was right. You know, if it's something that I'm not really sure of, I'll generally, you know, follow along. Now, as far as people reaching out directly via email or whatever, I mean, if it's somebody that I'm familiar with, I'll absolutely help them. If it's just a random stranger that reaches out, if I have time, I'll help them. Otherwise, I just explain to them that I don't have the time, or that I'm maybe not familiar with what they're trying to do. Is that where you were headed, Matt?
I think we lost Matt again.
Yeah, it sounds like he's fighting with his internet. We got several folks on it. Internet's on summer vacation too. Yeah, it's interesting. Where I get uncomfortable is if someone asks me for a phone number. No, that's not happening. But you know, talking on Facebook, I don't have a problem there. If there's something question posted in one of the groups I belong to, and if I do know the answer to it, I have no problem jumping in. If I see an answer that I don't agree with, I also jump in there. But one of the issues that I fought with is sometimes being content creator, you want to stay on top of things, so you're watching so much stuff, spending so much time watching other creators, looking at the pages and doing that you're not spending the time doing your own comment. Now, just a few minutes ago, someone posted here in chat, the Happy Extruder there, posted about seeing the bad print, seeing where it went wrong and how we created it, and being honest about, and this is the big topic that's come up, I've seen it on a few channels, if we're dealing with a machine and we have to show it the way it came to us, whether it's a kit, how we built it, or if we're modifying, what modifications we're doing to make it work. It's very important for us to give that information, that this is what we had to do to get it to work the way we want it to. And that's a very large topic, and it's not just for 3D printing, but sometimes I get the feeling people, when they're watching people on YouTube, they're going, well, you're professional at this. You must have a degree in it or something. No, I'm someone who uses this material. All of us are folks that use 3D printing, and we want to communicate what we have learned out to the public and use what resources we have to pass that information along. For social responsibilities, one of the things that when we're introducing new people to 3D printing, I think it's very important to let folks know that this is not like a microwave where you take it home, plug it in, and you're printing and you ignore it, you're done. It's a machine, it works. And as a machine, you're going to have to look after it. You're going to encounter problems down the road because parts wear. Nozzles wear out. You're going to be replacing nozzles. You may change nozzles for doing different work. You'll have issues with filaments. And letting folks know that if they're going to get into using 3D printing, and I'm moving beyond having 3D printing as a hobby, 3D printing as a tool. It is a tool that you have to learn how to use, and you're going to have to learn how to take care of. So that's a key item for me, because I believe, well, in this small community, so far I've counted 12 3D printers out there and only know of 2 that are really being used. The rest are sitting there gathering dust.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. One of the things that Repcord is in the chat, and Print 3D channel. I hope he was actually going to join us tonight, but it doesn't look like he's going to make it on, or possibly later. Make Magazine put out something, and they posted this on Twitter earlier today, about trying to set project or community guidelines. And they posted a big letter. I'm not sure if any of you guys got a chance to see that on Twitter today. Repcord, I'm going to make you a moderator. Could you possibly post that link in the chat for us so that others can see that? Basically, what the document was talking about was for a code of conduct for a project where everybody agrees, not to kick each other in the teeth, to be nice, hug, hold hands, love each other, treat each other with respect, and everything else that common decency says everybody should be doing. But I mean, do you think something like that is needed, even if unspoken, or not necessarily a legal document per se, but do you think something like that is needed, between the content creators or the people in the community there? I mean, not just on a project basis, but as a whole.
Yeah, I saw this document, and I think it's a good document to try to be as a guideline. I saw some comments, people saying I'm not going to let this or that dictate what I do, but it's a good thing for maybe new channels to have to see what's expected of them, and it was a good read for me, at least, because I have a new channel, and I'm figuring out what goes and what goes not into people eyes as good content. So it's good to have some references, at least.
But how do we regulate something like that? I mean, is it? Yeah, I mean, obviously, we all just started our channels on our own. I mean, we've all had mentors, people that have helped us along the way. But how do we regulate that or push those ideas out to other people?
But you just kind of said it right there. We've all had mentors. We all started. We had somebody mentoring us, and we're probably going to be like that person. And so I don't think that it can be enforced per se, because that's the whole police state thing. But if we set the example, if we step up now and we say, okay, no more of this, we're going to do it on this level. We are going to treat everybody respectfully. We are going to treat everybody kind. We're going to be professional about it. Then the next generation of YouTubers who look to us as mentors are going to also do it that way. And I want I want to bring up, he's, I don't know if he's even watching tonight, but there is a young man, he's 13 years old, and I found him on YouTube through Joel. Joel had thrown out a, hey, go check out, this young man's channel. And he's, I'm drawing a blank. But I watch his videos, and he, I won't say necessarily looks up to a lot of all of us, and he kind of mimics what some of us do, and I see it in him doing it. And if he follows the wrong person, then he's going to go down that wrong path too. So I don't think that it's enforceable. Like we can't all of a sudden be the YouTube police and go, oh, you're doing this wrong. We could reach out to somebody who we feel is doing wrong and be like, hey, how about? But by taking that initiative to be the one, to be the better leader, I guess. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree with that. It's as I see you sitting there with your son. I mean, in some ways, if we're mentoring, it's almost like trying to communicate or to teach our children the values that we want to embark upon them. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that the people that watch our content are children, or all of them are children. Just meaning it's, we want our children to learn from the mistakes that we made so that they don't have to make those mistakes. So when we're mentoring people or showing people the ropes, we try to teach them, I think, the same things that we've learned. So they don't have to learn the hard way.
Like even if it's adults watching, I mean, you don't know. I mean, you have no idea who's out there watching, and of course this does hit very close to home because of this one, and he loves to watch gaming YouTube videos, but we have a house rule that if he's watching a video and it has harsh language in it, he has to turn it off. So, but even if it's an adult that's watching, you're still mentoring that adult. And maybe that then changes that adult's lifestyle enough to influence their children better. So it's not even a YouTube thing. It's a daily life thing. And I have a lot of problems on social media because I am a very polite person. I have good manners, and people take it that I'm being snide or sarcastic online, and because it's hard to read emotion. And I've had people get very angry at me for being nice to them.
It's the curse of an engineer sometimes, I think.
It's funny. I don't know if you guys can hear me. I'm still fighting my network, but I know that there are some very choice communities on the web, especially when it comes to 3D printing. I'm not going to name names, but if they're not using inappropriate language, people look at them funny, and I don't get that. I mean, I'm just like you, Glenn. I've got a young child on my 3D printing channel, and I cannot tolerate any kind of foul language, or I try to speak appropriately all the time. It doesn't always come through, but yeah, it seems like that there's a very large part of the audience that just doesn't agree with that anymore, and I don't personally get that. I mean, we're talking about something that is generally a very engineering/scientific format. To scatter that around with language that you wouldn't deem appropriate in a doesn't make sense to me at all.
Yeah, there is a family of YouTube channels, and where the individual, the host, and the audience are in a totally different space for language and conduct. And there's some places that they're allowed to be on YouTube. It's a open world there. We're not censoring. Part of it is for the audience to go, especially if you're a parent, to say, no, that channel, you can't watch it. The content is not appropriate. It's not just YouTube, Facebook. There's too some people printing some very interesting things that are not family friendly. And so as a parent, you have to monitor what's going on, but also as a viewer, we vote with our clicks. We're going, I don't like that video, I'm off. You know, it's going to get a thumbs down and I'm on to a different channel. There's too much to watch out there that's good content. Doesn't matter for me. Brenna, she's an adult, so I don't agree with some of the stuff she listens to. You know, it's not my age group, but so we have to vote with our clicks, and we can't really monitor what the others are doing. It's just what are we going to do ourselves and to lead what we think is appropriate for only family content, but as things are mentioned in the Twitter article there, looking after our content, being inclusive, not attacking individuals, what have you. That stuff that we do ourselves, we lead by example, and we can't go and alter the others that we don't agree with.
So, I want to add a couple of things really quick. One, Oreos just joined us. Vicky's here with her Oreos.
Oh, hi, Vicky.
Second thing I want to throw out is Repcourt got the link. He's posted in the chat a couple of times to that magazine article that I mentioned earlier for anybody that wants to go check that out. And third thing, I just wanted to interject really quick on this. I know we started talking about, you know, the use of foul language and stuff, and I want to separate that a bit from social responsibility, because in a sense, I think that's each channel's audience to cater to their audience. We in this group may not necessarily think that's appropriate or something we want our children to watch or something that we would watch, but each content creator knows their audience and what is appropriate for it. And like Richard said, is that there's always an off button to turn that off. So I want to steer clear on that, away from, you know, our social responsibility. I mean, that's maybe a civic responsibility, but that being said, I do think the people that do choose to have content, you know, that of that more graphic nature or more language nature, I definitely think that needs to be factored in when they're on social media. That social media is an unfiltered audience that anybody can see. There's no off switch for it other than muting somebody. So I think that's where that comes in as a social responsibility.
With that social responsibility, I think it's critical. I'm looking at the article. One thing, it doesn't show up. If we're reviews, we have to be very clear on whether we bought the materials we're reviewing, or if the manufacturer shipped us the materials for us to review. We have to be very open about that. I've encountered a couple of channels over the past 6 months where it was well after the fact it came out that, oh yeah, they sent me that product to review. So, you know, how much has that affected the review? And a couple of the channels I don't even watch anymore, I really question whether it was, oh, I'm going to give them a good review because they sent me the product, as opposed to, they sent me a product, this is my review, whether they like it or not, this is the good, this is the bad. I want to be honest here. We have to be very clear about that.
Isn't that also a legal thing, too, that you have to say if it's sponsored?
It is in the U.S. at least. I can't speak for Canada or other areas, but in the U.S., FCC requires...
I was going to say, at least here in the U.S.
that we do. Vicky, thanks for joining in. I'm sorry to keep you there sitting silent, but tell everyone that doesn't know you who you are, and jump in on the topic. I know you have opinions.
Is my audio okay, you think?
Yeah.
It is? Yeah. Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm Vicky Soma. I'm from the YouTube channel TGAW 3D. I'm here in Occoquan, Virginia, which is 35 miles south of Washington, D.C., and we're having a lot of storms today, so we'll see. I might not be long on this live stream here. What do I think? Social responsibility. I'm in a different arena here. I feel one of my responsibilities is just being visible, because I'm female. I'm also a software developer. So, you know, be visible being a software developer. I'll do Girls Who Code clubs, you know, just be visible. So, you know, if someone's there and sees me, maybe they think I can do this too. And, I just print the things that I want to print. It might not necessarily be like Yoda or spinners, though I did do a spinner eventually. I crumbled. I did do the hairy lion, so I do some of the things everybody else prints. But, just do, and maybe that will resonate with somebody out there, and that's what will inspire them to get into this great community. I have a lot of positive experiences in this community, so I'm not sure we need to police it just yet. But yeah, anyways, carry on. I'll jump in later.
Right. Well,
yeah, sorry, my son was chipping in. He wants to say hi.
Hi there.
Hello there. What's your name?
He ran away. His name is Vicky.
How old is he?
He's 12, almost 13. And he got me into 3D printing, and he was going home for after school projects to a fab lab here in Reykjavik, and he brought home some items, and he printed out several things there and got me to go there with him. So finally we bought a printer.
Oh, he reminds me of my kid.
Yeah, he's quite fun. He has a YouTube channel doing Minecraft videos and several other videos.
Please don't say that.
He's making jokes with me.
Have to give him a tour of my Minecraft world at some point.
Yeah, carry on, Vicky. Sorry.
Well, Matt, do you have anything to add? Since you might lose signal at any time, or I don't know, maybe your lantern catches on fire or something, or down. I don't know.
I'm actually playing catch up. I don't even know if you guys can hear me very good or not right now. So go ahead and carry on the conversation without me. I'll chime in.
Okay. Richard or Mike, is your audio up? Do you have anything to add?
Actually, at this point, I'm just kind of listening along and following along. I think you guys can hear me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, your audio's coming across great now, Mike.
Okay. Well, I don't know why my network did that, but anyway, I'm a participator on Patreon now. So if anybody wants to help support me, I'll get a better network card. How's that sound? No, but anyway, I just want to kind of take a step back, and I'm not trying to be I'm not trying to stir the pot in a different way too badly, but I mean, when you take a look at the term ability, when it comes to a 3D printing enthusiast, let alone a 3D printing YouTuber, that covers a lot of ground, in my opinion. Anywhere from what we've been talking about as far as appropriate language, coming forward and saying, giving full disclosure on whether we're reviewing a product that we were given for free or if we bought it, or even going as far as like talking about what we're printing and how appropriate that is, as far as like, say, am I 3D printing a gun this week? Okay, is that a smart idea? Or am I printing, might be listed as NSFW as far as like watching it on YouTube. I think that's a social responsibility for YouTubers as well. So I kind of take it a little seriously, probably too seriously, and I take it a little too broadly, I think. So if I'm getting off topic too much, you are all more than welcome to just slap me down and just say, you know what, Mike, you're off topic, or you're ranting, or you're doing something silly. I kind of take the responsibility of it pretty heavily, you know, regardless of how often or how little I actually publish videos these days.
The nerd is here.
Hey, what's up?
Hey.
I made it. I got like 10 minutes. I got like 10 minutes. Got like 10 minutes.
Take the soapbox. It's yours.
Yeah, go.
Soapbox of what? What are we talking about? My goodness. What are we talking about? Someone help me out here. I can soapbox.
Oh my God, Joel! Responsibility.
Joel, the topic tonight was social responsibility. So we've been talking about those of us as content creators, the people visible, you know, on Twitter and Facebook, and as well as in our videos and stuff. What are our social responsibilities to the community as a whole? We've used examples of you know, using proper terminology and you know, calling an apple and a spade a spade, so that people don't start calling, you know, a spade a footnote. And that, you know, circles back to us.
Okay.
A few people have touched on, you know, inappropriate language in content and stuff like that, but I think we're trying more to steer the topic towards, you know, us being the ones that are seen, or people hear us. And in fact, you were quoted earlier. People hear you say something that becomes gospel. Because you are kind of the king of the community right now.
How about that?
I think everybody in chat will agree with that statement.
Well, here, how about this? I'll approach it from my point of view and kind of tell you my modus operandi, or whatever that word is. So as over the past couple of years, I've had my channel, and it's grown, and it actually has taken a couple hockey sticks up, and it's crazy. Sure, RC Life On is going to pass me in subs. Maker's Muse is taken off. Devin over at Make Anything is crazy. You got other people with 500,000 subs, million subs, 2-3 million subs that are 3D printing. But I've always felt like I'm what is it? I said one time I'm the dad brand of 3D printing on YouTube, and I don't say that as a negative thing. I say that as someone who I try to come across as caring, and I try to lift up those who are just starting. I try to inspire, and I think as someone in my position, I think I have this social responsibility to do those sort of things. I think that I need to keep lifting up or keep motivating. I need to offer suggestions and tips. If someone asks me a question, I can't answer everybody, but I think that in my position now, I think it behooves me and the community to answer from my experience and kind of give some words from my mind as to why something I think is happening. I think I always have a responsibility to be completely and totally honest with my audience, and that's something I've tried to drive home since day one. I think that the kids are going to be the next great thing in 3D printing, and I think kids like Xander, I see you there. I think kids like my kids. I know kids in maker spaces. And I get fan mail from 10-year-olds, 9-year-olds, 15-year-olds, 70-year-olds, you know, kids at heart. I think that, and I don't know if it's just me or if it's other people, but I think part of the responsibility of the position I'm in is to ensure that the community continues to grow. And I think to do that, you have to inspire the younger generation. You have to lift up the younger generation, and you have to give them the opportunity to excel. What else? I think that I have a responsibility to my family that I can't put out as much content as I want because it takes a lot of time and I still have a job. So, I don't know. It's weird. There's that responsibility to your audience, but at the same time, you have that responsibility to yourself, whether that's your family, your friends, your husband, your wife, your partner, whomever. And I think that I have this responsibility to a balance. I I don't know. What do you guys think? Have I hit home on anything? Does anything you guys think any of that makes any sense?
I think that's it. I think Joel hit it all. We can all go home and go to sleep.
Yeah, see you later.
Yeah,
Hey,
mic drop. Mic drop.
You know, I think that Joel really did hit a really great point. I mean, if you take nothing away from what he just said, every time you interact with somebody, lift them up, push them towards the positive side, and every video you make, ask yourself, you know, was that a positive video? I mean, even if it's a horrible review that you're doing, you can always put a positive spin on everything. So as long as every interaction you have with somebody is pushing them higher to the next notch, you know, push them above you, make them better than you are. So that's what I took from you, Joe.
The one thing there, though, comment, put a positive spin on it, but you don't make it come across as biased.
No, absolutely not. No, I'm not saying lie. I will never do a non-honest review, whether the product was given to me or not. So, and like Joel said earlier today, I would never accept money to do a review either. That's just bad. I mean, unless it was like millions of dollars, then I might do it once.
Sure, but then at that point, it's an advertisement, and you could just say, I'm doing an ad for X, and then you get a bunch of money, and everything is awesome.
There you go. Yeah, actually, Joel, that was on Twitter right before the stream started. I think you'd posted that somebody had asked you your rates, and a few people had commented about some people having a menu that they hand out. Do you think that's as prevalent as that sounds? I mean, not just in 3D printing, but I guess across reviewers as a whole?
I personally, let's see, what's the right way to put this? So I'm friends with a lot of different manufacturers, and I'm friends with a lot of people that make things in the industry. And, you know, you hear some back talk about others, and I don't think it's in the best interest of the community to share that, but I know that there are some very prevalent underhanded practices attempted from both sides. And I think that as a community, if we start to stop that, or if the truth comes out and we keep rolling and we say, this isn't right, let's do it. I think that, I think there needs to be a course correction, and I'm trying to do my part. So a lot of times I will get an email from a printer manufacturer that says, we love this printer, and you will too. Can you review it? And right now I'm refusing all new printers because I already have plenty in my queue. I mean, I still have that CME CNC Rostock Max V3 to build, hopefully before next MRF, I guess. But then they'll come back and they'll say, well, can we pay you money for the review, or can we pay to put it ahead of the queue of other printers? So that there's two parts there. One, can we pay for the review? No, I mean, I'll always refuse that. I'll say, thank you for the offer, but I don't accept payments or any sort of monetary compensation for a review printer. And I've actually had a few companies that say, oh, we apologize, we didn't mean to offend you, which makes me think that it's more prevalent than we've acknowledged, but I mean, I have no proof, so I can't say that. The other part of that, though, and this is where it gets interesting. So me, I am a high-profile 3D printing reviewer, and for someone to offer me money to put the printer ahead of the queue of another printer, while on the surface that seems different, I still think that, and this is me personally, this isn't saying, you know, this isn't gospel, I personally think that there's still money being exchanged for some sort of treatment, preferential treatment in a review scenario, and I don't think that's acceptable. What do you think?
If that was put to you in a different way, like could we provide you some new camera equipment so that it would speed up your production process so that you can get to our printer faster? Could we sponsor some camera equipment or something?
That's interesting. That's really, really interesting, because you have to call that out. And if someone wanted to sponsor the channel in a way without giving a very specific requirement for that. So if someone, like if Prussia actually said, Joel, you know what? I really like your channel. Here is $1,000. I'd like you to purchase a secondary camera and a switcher. I think you'd put out good stuff, and I think that it would benefit the community. I'd be like, great, thanks, Joe. That's awesome. If he did that and he said, oh, and by the way, I've got a new printer coming out. Any chance you could get this into your queue? I would say, look, it's, it would go in the queue. I would attempt to not give preferential treatment. But then at the same time, I mean, as someone who is attempting to make money on YouTube as well, even though I don't want to accept money to put a printer ahead of the queue, I fully admit I put the CR10 ahead of the queue because I knew it was the hot printer at the moment. And I didn't accept any money on that. And it wasn't GearBest telling me to do that or even asking me to do that. I made a business decision to prioritize that printer different than the others because I wanted to take advantage of the popularity. And I mean, I'll tell you guys, it worked out really well. In the 3 weeks following my initial CR10 video, I sold $110,000 worth of printers through GearBest, which is insane, right? But I think that was the business decision that brought about that scenario, rather than some sort of sponsorship opportunity, or rather than some sort of some sort of urging of the reseller to do it. Does that make sense?
That was a decision on your part, not somebody encouraging you or forcing you to make it.
That was me wanting to make a little bit of money. I'm not gonna lie.
Which, as a YouTuber, I mean, that perfectly makes sense to go with what's hot right now. I mean, the part of the reason of having a YouTube channel is to obtain views. Just like fidget spinners. I mean, once fidget spinners blew up, how many people did fidget spinners? I mean, Joel, you had what, 3 or 4 videos on fidget spinners?
I only did 3.
I mean, that's just good marketing, and we all are marketing to an extent. I mean, I know, like Vicky, you said basically, you said, you're really not there to monetize your videos. You're not really in YouTube to make any money. And I think, especially for those of us on the lower end of the subscribers, none of us really are making any money on it. However, the number of views, my Google Gnome video, for marketing, I had the opportunity to, in less than 24 hours on April Fool's, turn around and make Google Gnome real. That video got, what was it, Chris? I think like 5,000 views in the first 24 hours. I've never had a video come close to that.
And you had less than 100 subscribers at the time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was less than 100 subs at the time because you and I hadn't even done our contest yet.
Right. Yeah, I mean, at the smaller end, we're like Matt and my size, we're not necessarily looking to make money or make a profit, although that would be nice. But we're at the point where we just want to try to pay for, cover the cost. If making a little bit of revenue to pay for the roll of filament for the next video. And
I would even say to an extent,
I think he remembers being in that position at one point. And his mic's off.
Joel,
Sorry,
you said about.
I didn't want to click over. Sorry, Matthew. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you were first. You go.
Actually, I kind of cut Chris off. I'm sorry, Chris.
No, that's all right. I was done.
Joel, you said about, like, with a manufacturer or a seller, distributor, I'll say, offering you money to bump a printer up in your queue. I don't necessarily think that would be a bad thing as well. Again, as long as you go with the full disclosure and say, I did receive this printer after a bunch of others. However, this company did offer me new camera equipment in order to speed up my process and to be able to get to their printer a little bit faster. I don't know that I'd necessarily hold that against you. I mean, again, you are in this to make some money. I mean, it's not, especially at your scale, it's not something that you're doing completely for free.
True. And I see what you're saying. I see that. I mentally can totally picture taking in some sort of sponsorship in order to speed up my process, but it's still associating, like, there's still if a company said, here's some camera equipment if you can review our printer next, at that point, I'm going to shut it down. But if someone said, here's some camera equipment just to get through your queue faster, or here is a 10-hour-a-week assistant to get through your queue faster, then I think the gray area is gray enough to possibly go for it. I just always want to be wary of money in a review situation, and I never want to cross-contaminate that.
But it's different if they're asking you to move their printer to the next one that you do, versus, hey, let's help you speed up your process so you get to it faster. We're not asking you to make it next. If it's fifth in line, it's fifth in line. But let's help you get through those first 4 a little bit quicker. That's
sure,
a little different story.
I think that's a little different story, and I think it's a benefit to the channel itself, and it would be a benefit to all of the companies who've sent printers that are waiting. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I've never been offered that. I mean, full disclosure, I've never been offered anywhere close to that. But I think that if I was given that sort of offer, I would definitely give it some consideration.
Yeah, I think it's important in this situation to disclose it, to say I got the sponsorship to do this or do more on my channel, got those lights sponsored by this company, but that doesn't affect my view on the product. It's just a sponsorship I got, and it's not like a paid review. Instead, it's just a sponsorship for what I'm doing, and yeah. So if you say that what's in the deal, then it's accepted, I think.
I think you're right. I think you're correct. And at that point, then it's up to the perception of the viewer to then say, hey, this person is honest, or I don't believe this person. And I mean, I give as honest of an opinion, of a review, of a whatever online, and I still get people that are like, I don't trust you. And it's like, that's fine. You can not trust me all day if you want, but I don't ever want to I don't want to go out of my way to invite people to distrust me. I think is where it's at. So does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah. Really quick, Joel.
We talked about earlier.
Sorry, really quick, Matt.
Go ahead, Chris.
Joel, the Happy Extruder in chat wants to know how many hours estimated you have under your belt printing.
How many hours printing?
Yeah.
Let's see. I've been doing it for more than 2 years.
Well, we got our G-Maxes about 3 summers ago, I think.
Was it 3 summers? Oh my goodness. I mean, thousands. I can easily say thousands. But I have to count in that the time that I've invested in the channel. There are times when there is no printer going. I have 25 3D printers, and not one of them is actually actively printing something right now because I'm prepping for the robo review. I'm prepping for that's the form bot over there. Look at that. Sexy.
Yeah, but in fairness, Joel, you also have to take into consideration the times that you've been running more than one printer at a time.
Sure. There are times when 6 or 7 or 8 are going just because. I would say number of hours is thousands. I don't know how many thousands, but easily thousands. Thousands. You ask someone like Jerry at Spectra 3D, and man, that guy, I mean, he has an amazing beard. He is an amazing bearded fellow, and his printers are going 24/7. So he's tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of hours printing.
Agreed. I think the reason he was asking is because that's actually, as a reviewer, that's maybe a statistic that leads towards credibility.
What I try to do for reviews, I don't necessarily base reviews on the time that I've had a printer, because the review itself, it should be about what the printer has done for you. And so I know, like Tom is a German engineer, and that boy he can technically break down any machine. It's wonderful. Or Angus, as an industrial designer, is going to approach it different. I'm just a nerd in the garage. And so my view on things is going to be different than Tom's. It's going to be different than Angus's view. And that's great. I just need to explore that and then give that as my review. So like the Robo, I've stood in front of it for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes total, but I have a box of 12 to 14 multi-hour prints that I've tried to print on it. So even though I have a ton of prints on the machine, I haven't actually stood in front of it that long, if that makes sense.
It doesn't have to be babysat.
Some of them do. Lasers have to be babysat.
Wow. Exactly.
I can show you guys something I'm working on. Let's see if you can see that. There it is. It's 3D, and then I'll go there. And then I'll go there.
Skateboard?
Yeah, I got a skateboard.
Baller.
Nice.
And here's the one piece. So Simone Fontsman, he's the one that modeled the penny board originally. That was kind of popular not that long ago. And I said, hey, you should make a 3D printing nerd one. So he did. And I just sent off, this is the refill recycled PET from 3D Brooklyn. I just did the review on that filament. And one of the things that I printed was this skateboard. So now I have to get the rods. I got to get some trucks and some wheels, and I got to make myself a skateboard and see if it works out. So the review on the filament is coming out whenever Sean is done editing it. But just so you guys know, exclusive, I'm going to try to ride a skateboard.
Hey, Joel, are you going to bring that along to Maker Faire?
I might. Gosh, that's right. Maker Faire is coming up. Maker Faire.
Yes,
hey, wait. Fun King, Glenn, you and Xander, are you guys going to Maker Faire? Have you got your tickets?
This is an exclusive, and don't tell my wife, but yeah, we're going. I may have to empty the bank account, but he won't let me not.
Good.
He won't let me not go. I want you to know, Joel, he's shaking right now. He's so excited.
I am meeting you this year. No.
Xander, you don't understand. I get to meet you this year. I hope. Can I interview you? I'm going to interview you. I need to find out what makes you tick. I think this is going to be awesome. All right, good. I'm glad you guys are going.
Yeah,
Vicky,
we're gonna
make that Faire?
I am not making it. I'm sorry.
Oh, why not, Vicky? You're so close.
I know. I have a craft show that same weekend.
Okay. Your necklace looks fantastic, by the way.
Thank you. I'm smitten with it. So I can't wait. We're our vacation. We're traveling specifically for the eclipse. So it's like.
What is it? It passes through. Is it South Carolina, North Carolina?
Yeah, but we're gonna go to Metropolis, Illinois. That's where we're gonna try to catch it. And if it's overcast, we can go to the Superman Museum instead.
That's awesome.
Yeah, awesome. Backup plan.
Your backup plan is a top A-class plan as well.
Yeah.
We're planning to head down to Rocky Mount, North Carolina is our ultimate go-to spot.
Oh, that's nice.
We have a fishing trip in Sitka, Alaska planned during that time. So I guess we'll see it from a boat, I guess. It'll be interesting.
Either way, it sounds like a good vacation.
It should be fun. It should be a lot of fun.
Wow.
What else can I show you guys? Is there anything else you want to see or that I can show you? I got looking
Can
around.
you show me the high five blue rocket?
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. There it is. So this is V1 of your rocket, Xander. This doesn't take into account the changes that you've made. You can see that I know what you were trying to do right here, but it was just a little thin. And even G-maxing this would still leave this space, I think, too thin. So I'm going to do a test of the rocket, of your V2 rocket, before I attempt it any larger. I might actually do it on the FormBot. It's brand new. That might be a good test on the FormBot. Is that cool?
Yeah, it's fine by me. Any printer is good.
Okay, I want to make sure I use a Xander-approved printer. That's the important part.
Joel, you could heat up some filament in a pot and pour it down onto the table and say it was his rocket, and he'd be fine with that.
It's funny. No, it's a good rocket. I love this design. This was Tinkercad, right?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Well, okay, so then the next challenge I have for you, Xander, is I would like you to make a rocket. It can be a simpler design. It can be a 3-fin or a 4-fin rocket, but I would like you to try Autodesk Fusion 360.
Okay.
Okay, good. You heard it. Xander's going to learn Autodesk. 360 is going to be nothing, man. You got this.
That's fantastic because I don't know Fusion 360. I use Rhino 3D for all of my modeling.
Oh,
So-
geez, dude. Why do you put yourself through torture? Rhino 3D.
Really? You say that? I like Rhino. I've been using it for like 20 years now.
You come over here.
Wait till you use Fusion.
Yeah.
Rhino 3D is actually, do you remember Barnacles and Punished Props did that Reinhardt helmet? Do you remember? I don't know if you remember that. The helmet was designed by Bill's wife, Brittany, in Rhino. So there you go.
Wow.
I don't know. I've been using it so long, it's just my go-to. So this will be a good excuse for me to learn Fusion.
You should do it. Is it time to go?
Yeah, my son was using Tinkercad at his after-school program at FabLab, and he came home and asked me to install Fusion 360 on his computer because he wanted more powerful software. So kids can learn Fusion 360 really easily, I think.
Well, we all, you know, kids can make these incredible creations in Minecraft, and I don't even know how to start the game, let alone play it. So to give a kid Fusion 360, they're just going to hit the same synapses and they're going to fire away and create something awesome. And I'm just going to be like, how did you do that? Oh, I have to go get dinner, so I have to go. I have to drop off.
Joel, before you leave, I just want to thank you for everything you've done for me and my dad.
Oh, hey, it's not a problem, dude. Your dad's people, man. Look at that. Is it working?
Yeah, it's working great. I actually printed 2 things off of it.
You did print a Minecraft hammer, didn't you?
Yeah, Minecraft.
I'm sorry, I don't even know.
And this is the first print off of this.
Was that the pawn?
Yeah, it's a pawn.
Chuck Hellebuck likes to print the pawns as their first thing. That pickaxe looks pretty good, though. What do you think? Did it do a good job?
A little warping, but then.
I think where we had it sitting, the air conditioning was blowing on it.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that happen. Well, good. Keep printing on that thing, man. You should get some stickers on that, too. I think some stickers would really make that look kind of cool.
Yeah, maybe we can pick those up from you from Maker Faire.
Oh, yeah. I'll have some special stuff for Maker Faire. Don't you worry. All right. I got to go get dinner. I love you guys. Hey, thanks for letting me hang out for a bit.
Thanks, Joel.
Thank you so much, Joel.
Thanks, man.
I'll see you.
All right. Vicky, how much time do you have left with us? I know you had a short schedule tonight.
Yeah, I don't know, maybe about 12 minutes or so.
Okay. Well, why don't we, I mean, it's 8:20. I think we've beat to death the main topic. So aside from your necklace there, tell us about that and tell us what else you have going on right now.
Goodness. I don't know. I have a craft show in 7 weeks. So I'm just ramping up for that and getting some inventory going. And yeah, I have some other like custom projects, but I'll talk about those when they're done.
Okay. Besides the Oreos, what was the inspiration? And the eclipse, the Oreo eclipse? Or?
Oh yeah, I just because we're going to go see the total eclipse. It's just like the different stages. And for those of you who don't follow me on Twitter, it's a black PLA and then it's glow fill in the middle, so it glows in the dark too. And there's a picture on Twitter showing it.
Perfect. Perfect. Matt, what do you have besides a campfire there? What do you have coming up?
Actually, we don't even have a campfire going right now. Just stopped raining a couple minutes ago. Right now, literally, like right at my knee. I'm sitting Indian style in the back of my Ford Explorer. I have 2 printers going right now while I'm camping. I've got the PowerSpec Wanhao printing a part for my job for an HVAC part. And I've got the Flash Forge printing some hair bows that my wife and I have been designing the last week or so now that we're going to be selling on our Etsy shop, and we're currently selling on our Facebook page. Besides that, life's been getting pretty busy here. My daughter's getting ready to start school here in 2 weeks, so we've been kind of trying to cram things in before she starts school. I'm currently camping. That's why my internet kind of hasn't been the greatest for me. We're also going to be traveling on the 21st. Like I said, we're heading down to Rocky Mount, North Carolina to get as close as we can to the eclipse within reason. It's about 600 miles. We're going to go down early in the morning, make a stop at 3D Central, Virginia, in Richmond, Virginia, and then continue on down to Rocky Mount, see the eclipse about 4 o'clock in the afternoon on the eastern coast, and turn around and head back home again. After that, we're going to be down in the Outer Banks the week of Labor Day
3D
here in the
Central
U.S.
is a good stop.
Is that 3D Central?
3D Central is a good stop. That was a fun place.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to stop in there and get to talk to Andy and all them, or Andrew and all them guys. Definitely interested in seeing their shop. We're going to be down the week of Labor Day. Like I said, we're going down to the Outer Banks. We'll be staying down on Hatteras Island. Probably won't see too much of me. I'll still on social media and stuff, and probably shoot some video while we're down there. And then, like everybody else here, got word, I guess it was the beginning of last weekend, that we being me, my wife, and both of my daughters will be at Maker Faire, New York, Saturday and Sunday. And if there's enough interest from the community and enough people who are going to be in town, we may try to put together a Friday 3D printing hangout meetup in New York. If there's going to be enough people there Friday night, we may try to get a hotel room for Friday night as well. But I'll quit rambling that right now as we're trying to figure out where we're going to be staying when we go up to Maker Faire. So that's pretty much it. You guys can keep up to date on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube.
I'm definitely envious of all you guys that are getting to go to New York Maker Faire. Martin, what do you have coming up for your, what projects do you have in the works, and what do you have coming up?
Yeah, what I've been doing lately is those 3D printed landscape models. I create maps of Iceland as a secondary job that I sell to use on mobiles. So I have a very good information about maps and the terrain data, and I can print really detailed maps. And I've been printing those and painting it also with acrylic paints. And painting has been great fun also. I've never been painting anything in my life and just started this, and I have just made a YouTube video on those models and are printing more, and so I guess I will do a series on my channel with 3D printed and painted landscape. So that's mainly what I've been doing, but I've also been just improving my setup, printing things for my cabinet and holders for my spools and several things. And I created this one. This is a scan of me, and I had this, and my son has his copy of it. I haven't painted this one yet. So it's quite a lot of things I've been printing for the last month.
Very cool. Very cool. Mike, in case you drop again, what do you have in the works for the rest of the summer here or coming up?
Besides burning my computer to the ground. Yeah, I've returned this on my phone because for whatever reason my computer just right now like crazy. So sorry about that. I'm probably going to drop off right after this. Yeah, coming up, I'm going to be doing filament,
so far, I'm going to finish up my work on the project that I started way back in 2016. You know, it's gone far enough that, you know, I've had like a long time before I started videos again. I had 2 bumps with it, but I'm ready to come out of it, so I'm going to get started on that. And also, if you do look at my channel, and I'm not necessarily talking much, I have with Repcord started a movement called Make the Movement, where it's all about trying to develop a sense of like just exercise fitness, it's like one of those things that it's kind of a stigma, honestly, that I think yeah, sorry, that got messy. It's a stigma that I think that the community kind of needs to kind of move away from, is the fact that we all just are really happy writing code, 3D printing stuff, watching it print. I'm trying to just motivate more people to try and take that active role in their own personal fitness with a sense of their families, with a sense of their friends, with a sense of we want to be there when it happens. So if you follow me on Twitter, you can see all my progress with that. I'm personally on a mission to lose about 15 pounds. And also Norbert and Repcord are on this ride as well as Watch It Print out of Australia. He's been awesome with his posts. So that's my 2 cents.
Awesome. Awesome. Brenna, you're in the hot seat. What do you have coming up for the rest of the summer?
Well, right now I'm painting a little dude. It's a corgi sleeping in a bed. I'm currently taking part in a worldwide scavenger hunt called Gishwiz, the greatest international scavenger hunt the world has ever seen. And this is a thing for an item on the list of stuff I have to do for that. But besides that, I'm looking at doing some design work and finally learning Fusion 360 properly because I've been confused by it. And working with that kind of stuff. I want to get some jewelry out there, and there's a shop in town who says that they will sell printed stuff on consignment, so I'm looking at getting some stuff over to them. And that's kind of what I'm looking at right now.
Awesome. Richard?
Well, my big thing coming up is I have a workshop on the way. So it's an oversized garden shed that will be insulated so I can keep it warm during the summer. And that's where my chemicals will be going, my painting. My airbrush is going to live out there, so I don't airbrush in the house for the finishing. So it's more of getting outside and doing things. And I also spent today at a local animal rescue and did the papers to adopt a dog. So it's not 3D printing stuff. It's still wrapping up our summer out here. But I've been battling with my printer. I've had quite a few problems with it, and hopefully I have a solution here. And working away on that is I have now 5 different rolls of what do they call this stuff? Form Futura Easy Fill wood. And so 5 different types of wood fill. I like working with the wood. So as I say, I got 5 new boxes of this stuff to go through and make both dollhouse furniture with it and train stuff. So that's my project. Big thing is getting the workshop done.
That's always important.
Well, it gets the drill press out of the kitchen.
And I think we have the Fun King pair left.
the Fun King pair. That's funny. All right. Well, I'll go first because obviously Xander's projects are different than mine. But the main thing that I've been working on lately is the parts to convert my A8 into an AM8. the final pieces are trickling in. In fact, Sunday will be my last delivery, and I'll be able to upgrade that, which I'm going to film that whole process. And, you know, that's something people who don't have a YouTube channel take for granted. They don't realize that when you do a 10-minute project that you film, it takes an hour. So, but yeah, that's my big project. And then I just got done. Xander went back to school yesterday. Yeah, he's not thrilled about that. But he's a safety patrol, and they've got their belts with their badges. And during the little meeting, the head of the patrol teacher lady was telling us that when the kids put the badges on, to put a little piece of tape on them because the pins aren't very good, and they'll come undone and they'll lose their badge. So immediately I thought, I can fix that. So I came home, and what did it take me? Maybe 15, 20 minutes. I sketched something up in Rhino and printed it out to slide it onto the pin to lock it. So I printed 50 of those today for all the kids at the school that are safety patrol. Just trying to get the whole name out there. So yeah, it's just been basic projects like that. So, but Xander has a big announcement. I'd give him a drum roll, but I don't have a drum.
One thing, patrol head teacher lady. That's a great name. And a little spoiler alert, on our channel we're having a series called Xander's Thing Thursday, and we're going to take something like off a Thingiverse or a website, and we're going to print it out, like talk about what filament we used, who designed it, and all that good stuff.
Now, if I can push on that a little bit, you'll notice he said "we" a lot through there because he's used to it being "we."
Oh yeah.
This is all him. This is a brand new segment that's going to be called Xander's Thing Thursday, and it's going to be him solo on camera. He's going to pick an item or design an item, print it, and profile it for everybody. Talk about the filament that he used and the settings and that kind of stuff. And I got a guy off of Fiverr right now that's writing him a ukulele jingle.
I already picked something out.
So yeah, I wanted him to be a little bit more in front of the camera because I do dominate, and he gets a little nervous. So I think this will be good. So that was an exclusive. Don't tell anybody. Tell everybody.
We'll make sure we get that word out there. Well, I've been, anybody that follows me lately, you can see I've been in the mood, and I think Repcord kind of inspired this. I've been printing these little tiny micro guys. Dustin had let me play with a Block Zero that he had done a print or a review on a long time ago, and he needed to clear some space on the shelves. And I've just been having fun with this thing, printing all these. See, Vicky, the little tiny. Get into focus. There. Maybe. Super micro-sized Schrodinger's cat there. With the cat inside. So I've been just kind of, I know these aren't practical prints, but they've just been kind of fun, and they're I'm trying to learn how to use this 0.2 millimeter nozzle, and these have been great prints to do that with. And I also swore I'd never print a Benchy, and those that follow me on Facebook have probably seen this guy. I did a couple of them. They're leaning sideways. I did these for my daughter's fish tank. So I can actually call them a practical print. So I'll claim it as the world's first practical Benchy. But those are designed to look like shipwreck Benchies for a fish tank. And for the channel, I've been doing a lot of updates on the Monoprice Maker Select, or the DI3. The next thing that's going to be going into that is a Titan Arrow is going to be going on to that, and it's going to kind of be a Pimp My Arrow thing. I actually have, it's not going to be a stock arrow. I have some stuff planned for that. It's going to get painted up nice, and it's actually going to get some LED lights and be a little bit flashy with bang, as well as just an upgrade to the printer. Yeah, to have the exterior house, yes, and I've also been trying to clean my garage. That's partly where there's a sheet behind me, but so I'm trying to get it set up so that I can get the printers out of the house and more out here so that they can stay in rotation, or rather than being in rotation, they can stay lined up on the workbench. So with that said, do we want to keep the stream going since we've covered the main topic, or does anybody have anything else they want to add, or do we want to kind of call it a night here tonight and keep it an early one since we're having so many internet and audio issues?
Yeah, honestly, I'm cool with bailing, and it's not because of the poor company. It's just because my whole system is just slag. It's terrible. I need to just shut down and redo the whole thing.
Okay. Anybody else want to wrap it up, or?
Xander would like to show you guys something else that he designed and made.
So last time I designed a rocket, and I thought it was appropriate to design and print another thing. I called that the MakerBot 2000, and no, I did not get the name from the printer. I didn't even know there was a printer named MakerBot. So
it's good.
He's correct.
He was looking for ideas, and I said, "Well, you made a rocket. Now go make a robot." And he designed it, and then I gave him a hard time about it. I said, "Well, why don't you do this and why don't you do that?" And he pretty much just told me to flake off. That's how he wanted it.
it does not need feet, Dad.
I kept telling him it needed feet. It's just
it does not need feet, Dad.
It's all good.
Have to see some Minecraft creations at some point.
There we go. All right, well, if nobody has anything else to add, I think we can wrap things up there for tonight. The next Friday night hangout will be in 2 weeks, I believe, Matt.
Yeah, it's gonna be 2 weeks. What is the date? It'll be Friday, August 25th at 10 p.m. Eastern. The host will be to be announced.
Okay.
So check out the Facebook page. We have a Facebook page, F3DPCH on Facebook. And as soon as we get the info, we'll post it there. And hopefully we get all the internet problems worked out. Internet's on summer vacation too.
I think it's with so many kids out of school right now, it's eating up everybody's bandwidth with them all playing Minecraft or whatever else they're doing, or watching YouTube videos. And oh wait, we want them watching YouTube videos, so
yeah,
that's not bad. Hey Matt, the Happy Extruder said if we could do something in the future on kind of doing a co-op 3D printing Q&A for the community, and many users may cycle their different 3D. I'm not quite understanding what he's asking, but I think that he's asking if maybe we could start like a kind of community question box where if the person asking doesn't know the answer, the next person will jump in on the question or something like that. So while you're out there trying to start your campfire after this in the wet, in the wet ground, give that some thought and see what we could do.
Yeah, absolutely. That may be a good one. The next stream will be the night leaving at like 3 a.m. to head to the Outer Banks. So yeah, it's going to be a short one for me if I'm one. But yeah, if somebody's interested in hosting that one, get a hold of me on Twitter. We'll get it set up. I do, for those of you who are unsure how the hosting works, for me, I just did a quick video while I was here in the mountains on how to actually set up and schedule for the stream and how to get the links and everything. So I'll send that to whoever wants to host as well to make things easier for them. But yeah, we can definitely consider that for one of the topics. And real quick too, before I lose internet connection, I wanted to let everybody know, Pooch over at Repcord made a new calendar for all the makers. It's not just 3D printing, but all the makers It's called makersstreams.org. It's a calendar, so you can see when everybody's live streaming, what the schedules are, so that you can find out about live streams that you didn't know about before. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Chris.
No, that was it. I was going to say the exact same thing. Makerstreams.org. Use that to tune into your 3DP TV guide, I guess.
Yep. Yeah, that's what we're all dubbing it. It's the TV guide of 3D printing.
Well, I think with that we'll wrap things up here. We'll call it a night, and we'll pick it up again in a few weeks once we decide who's got it next time. So thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next time. Aloha and out.